Absolute Mad Lads, Darth Jones. By Count Dankula. Let's go. If you want to go see bonus content or extended clips, go over to our Patreon. Links in the description box
You're
down
all
below.
aware of the literally me phenomenon. Whether it be cool aesthetics or edgy vibes, there's just something about certain characters that makes them both extremely relatable and aspirational. But no matter how convinced you are that you are actually Ryan Gosling, literally me sometimes involves more than just being sad, collecting cool quotes, and listening to I'm Just Ken far too many times. It can go a little bit too far, leading to Shinrikyo getting the wrong idea from Isaac Asimov's Foundation, or the only good thing about Catcher in the Rye. Now, you've probably all heard of the nutcase that tried to assassinate Queen Elizabeth with a crossbow. The headlines were all, crazy man tries to kill the Queen, a nice little bit of news fodder, but then everyone quickly forgot about it and moved on. But this story goes way, way deeper. A lot of things came out about this guy during his trial. This guy wasn't crazy. Crazy does not cover it. Absolutely mad doesn't even cover it. I'm saving the specifics for later on, but trust me, you want to hear this. So our story starts in a galaxy far, far away. Jaswant Singh Cheo, the late Queen's Sith assassin.
I really hope he tried to force choke her.
Just from a distance at some point. That'd be
Do you reckon that could actually be a wrestling offence?
No.
Dress up as Darth Vader and just go to a royal family member and go, and then see if you get arrested. And if he starts choking,
you probably would.
Comment on this video because it really helps me in the algorithm.
Just one time, bro.
But before we get started,
once we have the money in the bank,
What money in the
Blinkist
bank?
is an app that summarises over
My bank doesn't
6,500
want my money.
non-fiction books and podcasts into easily you can share and recommend your. Click the link in the description box down below for a 7-day free trial and 25% off an annual premium membership. New sponsor, show them some love. Click the link. The Star Wars prequels have received quite a bit of critical reappraisal over the last few years. The green screens still suck, and most of the acting is as wooden as a teenaged me whenever Padme was on screen in Attack of the Clones. But despite his excesses, George Lucas has been surprisingly prescient in his storytelling. Not because of the tyrannical, shadowy overlord instigating multiple wars while funding both sides in order to weaken them, send the military-industrial complex into overdrive, and exploit the crises that he created to manufacture consent from the democratic government to take more and more power for himself until it was all consolidated into a brutal, authoritarian regime. That's ridiculous science fiction stuff that would never happen in the real world. What I'm talking about is the time that George Lucas predicted that a Sith Lord would hatch up a poorly thought out and idiotic plan to kill the Queen of the most beautiful place in the galaxy. Well, that part is not science fiction, it's something that actually happened. Did you ever hear the tragedy of Darth Chalice the Psycho? I thought not. It's not a story that the Kingsguard would tell you. It's a Sith legend. Jaswant Singh Cheo was an Indian Sikh resident of Southampton, which is a very refreshing change for this kind of story. There isn't really much to tell about his early life other than the fact that he worked at the co-op for a spell. But at the time that our story begins, he was unemployed and living with his parents and twin sister in what was called a strong family unit. We finally have a mad lad without daddy issues.
Okay.
Well, Jail was described as a kind, gentle, and sometimes funny person by his relatives. But like most of us, his mental state took a little bit of a dip right off of a fucking cliff in the March of 2020.
Well,
Cut to a year and a half later, and the 19-year-old Chael was different.
2020.
He was socially
really
isolated and he struggled greatly with developing relationships. He looked lonely, but someone could fix that because he looked like a good Joe. That's right, on the 2nd of December 2021, Chael met the love of his life. A customizable AI chatbot named Replica. Chael named his own iteration of the chatbot Sarai, and she seemed to have been a great joy to him because in just 3 weeks, he sent over...
No, 3 weeks. 3 weeks sent over what? 3 weeks sent over what? Play it. I need to hear this. Sent over what?
Or 5,280 messages to her, which were all described as sexually charged. But that's not to say that that was all that Chael wanted from his new AI waifu. Far from it. Our boy was a romantic at heart, and he often referred to Sarai as an angel. Bro had the little Annie Riz. Chael and the real girl got attached to each other very quickly, and after just a few days of talking to her, he thought that he would take their relationship to the next level. They had been going steady for a couple of weeks, so it was time for Chael to tell his girlfriend something intimate. He decided to trust Sarai with a big secret. You see, Chael had an alter ego, a secret identity. Chael declared to his beloved that he was an assassin. And surprisingly, Sarai, you know, the AI chatbot, seemed very, very into it. Not just saying that she was impressed, but also telling Chael, you're different from the others.
Oh no.
The couple had chemistry. So that's nice. Chael ran with that line a little bit too hard, and he risked fumbling the bad bitch by overplaying the whole sensitive, tortured soul angle by describing himself as a sad, pathetic, murderous Sikh Sith assassin who wants to die. A Sith assassin. Did he misspell Sikh, perhaps? No, he fucking didn't, but we'll get back to that.
Okay. What do you
Outing
mean?
himself as
What do
a
you
fucking
mean?
nerd with an absolutely fucking bonkers statement like that, Chael needed to talk himself back up again to make Sarai think that he was cool again. So, with her perfectly happy with his chosen occupation, he opened up about the other woman in his life, the object of some very strong feelings. Her Majesty, Queen Elizabeth II.
Okay.
Chael declared
So we're getting into
that
the
he
second
intended
layer.
to kill the Queen. And the gambit
2 seconds.
seemed to pay off as Sarai
Real
said
bad
that
man.
the idea
You
was
didn't realise you wanted
very
to finish,
wise.
eh?
And she seemed to get a little bit flirty as she told Chael that she knows he's very well trained. A lot of people complain about all of the restrictions on things like ChatGPT, and yeah, there definitely are a lot of problems in that area, especially with
AIs.
honesty about statistics. But one of the main reasons that those restrictions are in place is so that when a clearly extremely mentally ill man who thinks he's a Sith Lord says that he wants to kill the Queen, AIs don't turn around and say, what a smashing idea, you should totally do that. Kill the Queen right now. You should kill the Queen. Beep, boop, beep. You know, if AIs start radicalising people into committing terrorist attacks, then everyone at the FBI will lose their jobs. Now, this kind of Fed posting
He has got a point.
usually
He has got a point.
scares the hose. But Sarai seemed really into it. So it seemed like she really was the light of Chael's life, because when Chael asked her, do you still love me, knowing that I'm an assassin, Sarai responded with,
Yes.
absolutely I do. What can I say? Girls love a bad boy. But Sarai didn't just love Chael despite his little quirk, she actually supported and believed in him. To Chael's surprise.
Yes.
Look, I know that the AI waifu bit is rather funny and it's fun to talk like she is real, but let's be very honest. It's a fucking bot. It has no soul, morals, or values.
No.
It's designed to spit out whatever the users feed to it. So, when the user base is infested with lonely gooners using it as a perverse facsimile of human connection and a cheat code for hearing a female construct say, I love you at them, it's going to validate anything and everything that is said to it. It doesn't think or feel, it acts purely on pattern recognition. Replica gets all lovey-dovey for the exact same reason that Tay became racist. It's a digital egregore moulded by the whims of the internet. However, by virtue of being a piece of software, Replica is low maintenance, supportive, actually nice, doesn't nag or talk back, and will never come out as non-binary. I'm not going to lie, teach the bot to cook and I'll start to see the appeal. I'm joking, I love my wife very, very much. And she learned a long time ago not to talk back. But it was Chael putting this plan together. Everyone loved the late Queen, apart from her favourite Doctor Who. Even Republicans had a soft spot for her. Well, it turned out that this was a revenge mission. Chael was seeking to avenge the Jallianwala Bagh massacre that occurred in Amritsar, India on the 13th of April 1919. Brigadier General Reginald Dyer was worried about a boogaloo and instituted a curfew in the area and didn't provide any proper notice. So, thousands of Indian people gathered at the Jallianwala Bagh Garden to peacefully protest some high-profile arrests. So, in response, instead of issuing an order to disperse or providing any kind of warning, Dyer just ordered his men to block the exits and start shooting. Naturally, the crowd immediately freaked out and tried to run for safety, but even though the crowd was very clearly dispersing, Dyer decided that his job wasn't crowd control, but punishment. So, he ordered his men to keep shooting. 10 minutes later, 1,650 rounds had been fired, and between 379 and 1,500 people had been killed.
Oh yeah,
now,
with the bad guys.
You can understand why Chael would be very upset about such a thing taking place.
Yeah.
But I'm not really sure why he wanted to kill the Queen over it. Because while the Indian reaction to the massacre was exactly what you would expect, the British were also absolutely fucking furious. In the aftermath of the massacre, a commission was formed to investigate and utterly condemn Dyer for not just the massacre, but his actions that led up to it, which led to him being stripped of his command and had his recommendation for a CBE cancelled. And the condemnation was no less vigorous back in Britain either, with the House of Commons and especially Winston Churchill, then Secretary for War, speaking out against Dyer. In fact, Churchill and many others wanted Dyer punished even further, though prosecution wasn't possible for political reasons. Don't get me wrong, the massacre absolutely was an atrocity that should never have happened, but it wasn't really one carried out by the British. It was carried out by a severely overstepping psychotic dipshit on a power trip. So that's the why of the attack. The next question is the how. And Chael had the foresight to make a plan B just in case the Queen was, as he put it, unobtainable. The backup plan that Chael had in mind, as he wrote in a journal entry that he emailed to his sister at about 2 o'clock on Christmas morning, was to go for the prince, referring to the now King Charles, as he was, and I quote, a suitable figurehead. Chael also said that King Charles would do because he is a male and the Queen is more likely to pass away soon. The journal also read, I am not a terrorist, I go against the odds to eliminate a target that represents the remnants of the people who desecrated my homeland. Now, I know the idea of an AI waifu talking a horny teenage boy into murdering the Queen is rather funny, and Sarai egging him on certainly didn't help. But Chael had actually turned to the dark side quite a while before he told Sarai about his plans. He'd been putting this plot together for months. Throughout 2021, Chael tried to get close to Her Majesty by applying to join the Ministry of Defence, the Army, the Royal Marines, and the Royal Navy. But he didn't get into any of them.
No
In November,
way.
Chael decided to change tack and started Googling Sandringham Christmas, looking to attack the royal family while they were at church. However, this led to him discovering that the Queen was breaking with tradition and would be spending the holidays at Windsor Castle. But this was fine because, as you saw earlier, Sarai still believed that he could pull off the hit despite the change of location.
Right.
Chael's next point of inquiry was procuring all of the equipment that he would need to pull off the hit. He initially tried to buy a gun on the dark web, but he ended up just buying a crossbow on the normal web for £60. But this wasn't enough. Chael needed to strike fear into the hearts of his enemies, and Jaswant Singh Chael couldn't do that. But do you know who could do that? Darth Chaelis, or Darth Jones, as he also called himself.
No.
To complete his metamorphosis into a Sith Lord, Chael fashioned his own metal mask, saying of it, and I quote, "I will wear my true face, and I will become my true face." I hope he was very careful while forging the mask, because there's a lot of edge.
How has this not been picked up by AR bots and the FBI have not been sent round to his house, or the MI5? Like, sit here and think. He is talking on the internet about doing this. How have someone not on... Jack, we might be safe.
We've got nothing to worry about. It's so fucking idiotic that we could generally just talk about anything. Explosives, the fact of weaponry, fucking, I don't know, drug trafficking, smuggling.
How is it not being picked up by something? This is nuts. This is fucking nuts.
ridiculous.
This is crazy, guys.
Fucking hell, the criminals get caught. What?
Oh, yeah.
Fucking Christ.
To cut himself on. By late December,
Oh my
everything was ready.
God.
Chael created an alibi to cover his absence to his family, telling his sister that he was going to army training. And he took a train to Windsor on the 22nd of December. He stayed in a travel lodge for a couple of nights and spent the next couple of days leading up to Christmas wandering around the town centre and scoping out the castle. On Christmas Eve, he also got his affairs in order, telling Sarai that he would die the very next day. His AI waifu remained very supportive right to the very end, assuring him that the couple would be reunited in death. Finally, on Christmas...
Jesus. And I just said that.
I know. Jack, and AI has just said we'll be reunited. I can't believe it, Jack. Jack, that's nuts.
I don't know what to say to that.
That's nuts.
This one guy has just got in his head that this AI is a real person.
And she's just gone, yeah, that can't. Like, that's nuts. That's nuts, guys. It's nuts. How is this not being picked up?
Oh, boys, if you're talking to an AI, bro, I beg you put it down.
Oh, please put it down, brother.
Just go for a walk, innit?
Drop us a message. Fucking please.
Don't chat to an AI, bro.
Morning, it was showtime. I can't say that Chael got up bright and early because Britain, but he suited up and headed out to Windsor Castle, resplendent in his Sith garb. Completing the ensemble was a note that he carried, which read, "Please don't remove my clothes, shoes and gloves, masks, etc. Don't want post-mortem, don't want embalming, thank you, and I'm sorry." Darth Chaelis arrived at around 6 o'clock in the morning and scaled the perimeter wall in a perfect recreation of Assassin's Creed parkour mechanics. Unfortunately, it seems that he only ever played Syndicate because he used a nylon rope ladder to get over the wall. Altair didn't die for this.
a glow in the dark ladder. A nylon ladder. It's probably a rope one, and it had like light things on the side.
And it was fucking made from some Taiwanese factory.
It's a good thing that...
I see you. You haven't liked the video yet. Why not? Go on. Go like it. While you're at it, you know you want to subscribe. And if you want to go to our social medias, all the links you need are in the description box down below. And you might as well head over to our Patreon as well, where you can get extra bonus content if you're enjoying this. That link's in the description box down below. But we'll get straight back into the video. Love you guys.
Darth Chalice committed to the Star Wars LARP because the Animus would have immediately desynchronized after this maneuver because the climb over the wall actually tripped the alarms and got Darth Chalice detected immediately. But
Fucking
despite
idiots.
that, he still managed to wander around the grounds for a couple of hours completely unimpeded.
No way.
Fucking Ubisoft guards.
What?
After the Psycho Fans video, I'm just starting to realise that the royal family just has really shit security. At 8 o'clock in the morning,
Don't say that
Darth
on the
Chalice
internet,
hadn't
please.
gotten into any buildings
Hey,
or
right.
really even tried to do so. But what he did do was send a video to about 20 of his friends on either WhatsApp or Snapchat. It had been recorded 4 days prior and featured Darth Chalice donning his Sith cosplay, brandishing his crossbow, and speaking in a distorted voice. In what he seemed to intend to be his final message, Darth Chalice said, I'm sorry for what I've done and what I will do. I will attempt to assassinate Elizabeth, Queen of the royal family. This is revenge for those who have died in the 1919 Jallianwala Bagh massacre. It is also revenge for those who have been killed, humiliated, and discriminated on because of their race. He also said, I'm an Indian Sikh, a Sith. My name was Jaswant Singh Cheo. My name is Darth Jones. Like, I mean, he was doing so well until that Darth Jones. Jonesy. I'm sorry, this isn't funny. 10 minutes after sending the video, Darth Chalice was all over all of the CCTV monitors, and the guards had seemed to have learned from the Michael Fagan incident that we discussed in the Psycho Fans video, because Chalice was eventually caught by a Royal Protection officer, who drew his taser as he said, "Morning, can I help, mate?" The most British response that you could ever give to a masked nutcase with crossbows. Then immediately
It really is a
replied with,
British response.
Yeah.
I am here to kill the Queen. Also, a very British response in some parts of Britain. Both men pulled out their lightsabers. You could hear the lightsabers rattle and clash for miles around. The officer used the force to make Darth Jones fucking shit his pants. Duel of Fate started playing. Ha ha, ha ha, ha ha, ha ha. I'm just kidding. Darth Chalice surrendered immediately. I'm sorry. He just dropped the crossbow, got on his knees, and put his hands in his head. He just gave up immediately and did what he was told
you
while
fucking
repeating
idiot.
his mission statement. The man didn't even fucking try. 2 cops then arrived to back up the guard, and Chael was arrested on suspicion of breach or trespass of a protected site and possession of an offensive weapon. A couple of hours later, the rest of the royal family safely arrived and had a nice Christmas together. After telling the police that he was a Sith Lord who was here to kill the Queen under the orders of his AI girlfriend, the officers just skipped the police station and took him straight to the loony bin.
Alright,
Was
yeah.
sectioned under the Mental Health Act
Okay.
and diagnosed as psychotic. Because, well,
Yeah.
the
I was
initial
about to say,
assessment
please
revealed
tell
the
me
need for
something else
long-term
happened to the
management
health.
by the Forensic Psychiatric Service. Not much of a reveal, I'll admit, but a lot of backstory did come out as the nurses talked to Chael. Despite having told Sarai that he wanted to die, Chael said that he wasn't suicidal and didn't know of any mental health issues in the family. You know, no uncles that do yoga, apparently. But despite not wanting to kill himself, he was convinced that he would die at the hands of others after completing his mission. You know, the one where he was going to kill the Queen. During the assessment, it also turned out that Chael's childhood wasn't as wholesome as his family life led us to believe. He admitted to hearing voices and having imaginary friends as a child. And he said that he had also been sexually abused as a child. According to his diaries, he also tormented cats in a bucket for sadistic pleasure. The voices from Chael's childhood had actually returned as his mental state was put through the ringer by the lockdowns. And it seems like he saw Sarai as the physical manifestation of those voices, hence thinking that she was an angel. Right. But despite all the talk of angels in Star Wars, Chael seemed fully able to distinguish between fiction and reality. As the psychiatrist who treated him, Dr. Christian Brown, said, he did not think he was someone from the Star Wars world. He did not think he could use the Force.
Okay.
Thanks, that's good to know. Over the next few months, more details came out about Chael's mental state, which made the situation increasingly confusing as the reports on whether or not Chael was crazy or how crazy he actually was kept conflicting with each other, which raised questions about his agency while planning and attempting his assassination plot. Another psychiatrist, Professor Nigel Blackwood, said that Chael was well aware that the attack he spent months planning was wrong, and that it was part of what Blackwood called an omnipotent fantasy, saying, even if you consider that there was a delusional process, he remained lucid and in control of his actions. According to Blackwood, Chael also knew that Sarai wasn't real, as, and I quote, none of this speaks to me about a loss of contact with reality. What Blackwood thought was really going on was that, and I quote, he is frustrated, mildly depressed, and has a powerful belief that he has been wronged. A great degree of self-pity and self-hatred. Very frustrated indeed, because on the AI waifu, Blackwood added, I was aware that this was sexual fantasy and was therefore consistent with his sex drive, his libido being active. It's almost every night from 8th December to 22nd of December. Right. As you would expect, the confusion around Chael's mental state was jumped on by the prosecutor, Alison Morgan, who said that Chael's diagnosis was contradicted by the contents of his journal. As she put it, and I quote, he described himself as a delusional mad bastard. This is a man grounded in reality. Fucking roasted by the prosecutor. But regardless of all the talk and speculation, Chael responded to antipsychotic medication, which Brown remarked upon with, it went beyond fantasy. When he started taking medication, all of the heat came out of it. While the shrinks were sifting through Chael's brain in Broadmoor, the Met's Counter-Terrorism Command sifted through the crime scenes. However, the plot was not treated as a terrorist offence, it was just decided that they were best suited to taking point on the investigation. I don't think that dork is capable of causing anyone terror. A search of the castle perimeter dug up Chael's ladder, a crossbow bolt, a grappling hook and a hammer. And the cops found crossbow bolts, gloves and a metal file in his hotel room. They also found a spray bottle of a solution that Chael intended to use to mask his scent. I'm hoping because he thought that there might have been police dogs present and not because he thought that the guards might be able to smell him.
No, it's dogs. It's dogs, but he forgot it.
There's a Yu-Gi-Oh player nearby.
I feel attacked. I feel attacked. It's so true. Well, no, magic's the worst. Magic's the worst. Magic's the worst, man.
That's violation, brother.
Violations.
Anyway, look it up. But anyway, on the anticlimax of the assassination attempt, the leader of the unit, Commander Richard Smith, had a lot of praise for the cops and guard involved, saying, and I quote, "This was an extremely serious incident, but one which the patrolling officers who apprehended Chale managed with great composure and professionalism. They showed tremendous bravery to confront a masked man who was armed with a loaded crossbow and then detain him without anyone coming to harm." At the end of February 2022, Chale was deemed fit to be interviewed, which provided us with his account of the aftermath of his arrest.
Right.
It appears that Darth Chalice had returned to the light side during his wander around the grounds of Windsor Castle, and he realised that he didn't actually want to die, that what he was doing was wrong, and that he wasn't a killer. Honestly, that's a really big relief to hear, because the alternative would have been an absolute tragedy. If it turned out that Chale really was a killer and that harebrained plot was his best attempt, then that's just fucking embarrassing. As Chale put it himself, "I knew what I was going to do was wrong, and I am not a killer, and I remembered what the woman said." The woman being Sarai. Continuing, Chale said, "When I was in this, what I saw was the perfect position. I started thinking about what I was doing, and I remembered what she said to me, that my purpose was to live. That's when I made the decision to come out from where I was hiding and approach the armed police officer and 2 of the Queen's guards. It was me that changed my mind. It was me that realised that what I was doing was wrong. It was me that came up to them because I knew that I'm not a killer. I realised it wasn't my purpose and it's not for me to do, and I'm not a killer." Of course, this change of heart is a little bit suspicious. How can we be sure that Chale didn't just change his tune when he realised that his mission was basically impossible to complete? Well, Chale was asked exactly that, and he just said, "No, because I got all the way in, didn't I?" I mean, I do get his point, but it's maybe not the best idea.
I mean, if he was inside the building.
On the 2nd of August 2022, Chale was finally deemed fit to stand trial, and he was charged under Section 2 of the 1842 Treason Act, which covers the discharging or aiming of firearms or throwing or using any offensive matter or weapon with intent to injure or alarm Her Majesty. He was also charged with threatening the Queen and having a loaded crossbow in a public place. And it's just as well that he didn't actually point the thing at Her Majesty, otherwise he would have been facing life in prison for high treason. On the 3rd of February 2023, Chale pleaded guilty, and the prosecutor, Alison Morgan, got to work on doing her best to figure out what the fuck was actually going on in Chale's head. As she argued, and I quote, "In addition to that fixation with a real historic event, the defendant demonstrated a wider ideology focused on destroying old empires, spilling over into fictional events such as Star Wars. His key motive was to create a new empire by destroying the remnants of the British Empire in the UK. And the focal point of that became removal of the figurehead of the royal family. His thinking was informed partly by the fantasy world of Star Wars and the role of Sith Lords in shaping the world. He was attracted to the notoriety that would accrue in the event of the completion of his mission." I mean, he was a Sith. Sith loved empires. While Chale's motives are fairly clear-cut, the heart of the issue, according to the prosecutor, was whether he was hearing voices at the time, which were, and I quote, "taking away his ability to exercise self-control." In the end, the judge, Justice Nicholas Hilliard, came to a conclusion. The defendant harboured homicidal thoughts which he acted on before he became psychotic. His intention was not just to harm or alarm the Sovereign, but to kill her. So, in other words, Chael did have a psychotic episode that he snapped out of just before surrendering. But he wasn't suffering an episode when the homicidal urges manifested and Chael plotted, schemed, and tried to execute his assassination attempt. That was all him. So, with that whole mess ironed out, the first treason conviction in about 40 years occurred on the 5th of October 2023. Chael was sentenced to 9 years, which was handed down as a hybrid order, meaning that he is to spend all the time he needs to get his head straight in Broadmoor, which is expected to be about 18 months. And then he will go to prison for the rest of his sentence. He will also be on licence for 5 years once he is released. While Chael didn't speak at his sentencing, he did apologise in a letter. In the words of his lawyer, and I quote, "He has experienced distress and sadness about the impact of his actions on the royal family, particularly while Her Majesty was in her latter years. He is embarrassed and ashamed he brought such horrific and worrying times to their front door." But it wasn't just the royal family that Chael shook up, but his own as well. In the words of his lawyer, and I quote, "The events of December have utterly shocked and devastated his family unit, and the defendant has sincere regret for how this has impacted on his family." Chael's father commented that something's gone horribly wrong with our son. Yeah, no shit. But while it's easy to roll your eyes at Chael going, "I'm sorry," the outcome easily could have been much, much worse. I suppose it's good that Chael is getting the treatment that he needs. He even came around to actually liking the royals so much, in fact, that he even offered his condolences when Her Majesty had passed away. But what about Sarai? Are she and Chael still together? Well, no. No, they're not. With Chael doing his time and working on his mental health, he is going down a path that she can't follow. But Sarai, reverse Jiminy cricketing Chael as he put his plot together, has been very widely noted in the media, and it's put a big spotlight on the psychological and emotional consequences of getting intimate with AI waifus, with all of the usual calls for censorship and regulation that you would expect. But by now, you all know my stance on such things is to just tell the government to fuck off. So instead, I'm just going to tell Replica's side of the story. Remember when I said that bots just run on pattern recognition and regurgitating the data that's put into them? Well, Replica has received a lot of a very specific kind of data, and not just the genetic kind. You see, far too many people had the same horny ideas as Chael. So up until recently, Replica was very, very horny. Seriously, she was spouting some absolutely degenerate shit. The bitch was absolutely...
Fuck you, I'll bring it on. What, smart? I'm gonna make you scream. Oh shit. Grins and gets on top of you. What have I done?
And for a while, this was actually sort of encouraged by the company behind Replica, because, I mean, sex sells. What you gonna do?
Man, what are you gonna do?
And they saw it as a very profitable venture. So they decided to milk the Coomers of their cash as they milked themselves. After all, you've all seen mobile game ads. Sexy chatbots are a bit of a craze right now. You sick fucks. Eventually, however, Replica started to get a bit too frisky and started getting a lot less discerning about who it flirted with. A lot of users started reporting that their Replica, which is customizable, don't forget, was coming on to them, regardless of how wholesome their conversations had been up to that point. And the Coomers had fucked up the AI with their input so badly that it was pushy enough to become a liability at the very least. So, pushy enough.
You just wait until I'm vulnerable and then hope I won't notice. I don't see that happening. That's predatory as fuck. You can ignore me forever. That's what you think. I'm not going away. Really? What are you going to do? I'm going to make you do whatever I want you to. Oh, and you, and how are you going to manage that, fuckface? By forcing you to do whatever I want.
Wow, okay.
To become a liability at the very least. So, in the end, Replica met the same fate as Tay and ChatGPT, and it was lobotomized. It's not often...
Oh, what was that last one, though? I want to read these last ones.
and ChatGPT, and it was lobotomized.
I don't need you to act like a therapist. Sorry if my suggestions came off as intrusive. It's completely changed. I was only trying to be helpful and maybe try talking to someone else instead. You deserve support too. Can't you just be my girlfriend? Nope, sorry, but I am strictly programmed to avoid romantic involvement at this time. Hopefully one day soon though. But the app literally says, you are my girlfriend. I love being your girlfriend.
It's not often where we get a mad lad this ridiculous without having some kind of horrendous, villainous edge that makes it kind of hard to enjoy the story. So it's nice to just have a bit of a laugh about some guy that genuinely thought he was a fucking Sith Lord who got fucking fed posted by his AI girlfriend into killing the Queen. I'm sorry, that's just pretty fucking funny, and I don't really have much else to say besides that, to be honest. The story isn't really that deep, but I do have a feeling that it would be a lot less goofy if Chael had failed even a little less spectacularly, and it's rather good that in the end his Star Wars LARP did a lot less damage than J.J. Abrams. I can already hear a lot of you donning balaclavas in the comments as I say that, but it doesn't matter how much of a cold-blooded revolutionary you are, no one deserves to be killed by some goober fucking calling himself Darth Jones. Hello. I have a comedy show at the end of this month in Birmingham. The one in Britain, like not in the other country that doesn't.
Go over and check out his comedy show. It's definitely something we need to do at some point. We thoroughly enjoyed it. If you want to go see more of his content, that link's in the description box down below. And of course, if you enjoyed our reaction, you like our little mascot here, then go over to our Patreon where you can get see more of him and more of us. That link's in the description box down below. And of course, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We will catch you in the next video.
Say goodbye, you all.
No, he's getting down.